Beloved, life answers to the words we speak. Every thought is a seed, and every word is a decree. The universe is listening to you now, bending its ear to the sound of your voice. Money, wealth, and supply are not far away, they are here, waiting for a command. The law is simple: you speak, and it must obey. There is a sentence, a divine key, that opens the storehouse of riches and calls forth abundance in mighty waves. It is not a plea, it is not a wish. It is a decree of truth, and once it leaves your lips, the unseen forces rush to obey. The currents of prosperity rearrange themselves, doors open, opportunities spring forth, and money comes in ways you cannot fathom. You must understand, wealth is not something to chase. The more you chase it, the more it runs. But when you speak from authority, when you claim what is already yours, it turns and rushes to you. Prosperity is not earned, it is claimed. It is claimed by the one who knows that the infinite is their unfailing source. So hear this sentence, and speak it only once, with unwavering faith. Money comes to me in large, miraculous, and ever-increasing amounts, under grace, in perfect ways. The moment you say it, it is done. You do not need to repeat it again and again, as though begging or persuading. You must speak it once, as a king commands, as a queen decrees. You stand still, and you know. You rest in the truth that the money is already on its way. From that moment, your task is to live in expectancy. Watch for the signs. The divine will open channels you never imagined. A new idea will flash across your mind. A forgotten debt will be repaid. A door you thought was closed will swing wide. Money will appear suddenly, in large sums, because you dared to speak with authority. Do not look to persons, do not look to circumstances, do not look to the bank. Look only to the infinite, for it is the source. The channel may change, but the source is eternal. And as you align yourself with this law, you will find that money flows to you as naturally as the tide returns to the shore. Remember, the power is not in the repetition. The power is in the decree. Say it once, in faith, and the universe must answer. The word spoken with conviction goes forth and does not return void. It plants itself in the invisible and bears fruit in the visible. Large sums of money are even now moving toward you, gathering speed, ready to enter your hands. Speak this sentence once, and then live as though it is already yours. Act as though the money is here, give thanks for it, and rejoice in advance. For gratitude is the magnet that quickens manifestation. The law of supply cannot fail. The only thing that stops it is doubt, and today, doubt is cast out. Your word is your wand, your decree is your destiny. Speak this sentence, believe it, and let the infinite surprise you with sudden, glorious, and overflowing wealth. Words spoken with faith are not mere sounds that vanish into the air. They are vibrations that shape the very fabric of reality. Every word carries energy, and when it is spoken with conviction, it becomes a decree that the universe must respond to. The ancient truth has always been that the tongue holds the power of life and death, and those who understand this law know that wealth, health, and success can be summoned by the power of spoken words. When a person speaks without faith, their words are weak, scattered, and without force. But when a person speaks with unshakable belief, their words are like lightning bolts striking into the invisible, calling forth what already exists in the spiritual realm into the physical. This is why the greatest riches are not attained by hard labor alone, but by the consciousness and the words that direct labor and effort. The one who speaks from faith is the one who commands the currents of prosperity to rearrange themselves in their favor. Faith is the element that turns speech into creation. Without faith, words are empty shells, like arrows without tips, unable to pierce the unseen. But when faith fills them, they are unstoppable. Faith is the knowing that what is spoken is already done, that what is declared must come to pass. It is not hope, it is not wishful thinking, it is not a timid request. Faith speaks with authority, it commands, it decrees. And so when words are clothed in faith, they are transformed into divine instruments, bending circumstances, opening doors, and drawing supply from every corner of the earth. Words spoken with faith are not asking life to deliver something uncertain. They are declaring what life already holds and compelling it to appear. There is a vast difference between words spoken from fear and words spoken from faith. Many people repeat affirmations daily, yet see little change. Because their affirmations are laced with doubt. They say the words while secretly wondering if anything will happen, and that doubt weakens the decree. The universe does not respond to hesitation, it responds to conviction. When one speaks, the tone, the feeling, and the vibration behind the words are what give them power. A whisper of faith can shake mountains, while a loud proclamation of fear produces nothing but more fear. This is why it is not the length of the statement, or the frequency of its repetition that matters, but the faith that fills it in the moment it is spoken. Faith-filled words align with the higher law that governs all abundance. The world of appearances may show lack, debt, or limitation, but words of faith override appearances and call forth truth. They declare supply in the face of shortage, they declare wealth in the face of bills, they declare opportunity in the face of closed doors. And as they are spoken, reality shifts to match the decree. Words of faith refuse to bow to present circumstances, because they know that circumstances are clay and words are the hands that mold them. A person may be standing in an empty room, yet when they declare with faith that abundance fills their life, unseen forces begin moving to fulfill that word. Consider how creation itself began. The command was spoken, and the universe unfolded. Light appeared because it was spoken, not because it was waited upon. This is the eternal pattern. The word goes forth, the manifestation follows. Humans, made in the image of the Creator, carry that same power in their speech. When they speak with faith, they echo the creative word that shaped worlds. They are not begging for wealth, they are commanding wealth into form. They are not hoping that money will come, they are affirming that it must come, because the decree has been released with authority. Words spoken with faith imprint upon the subconscious mind, which then becomes a magnet for the external world. The subconscious does not argue, it accepts whatever is impressed upon it, and when the words are spoken with faith, the subconscious records them as reality. This reality then magnetizes circumstances, people, and opportunities to match what has been declared. A person who says, "I live in abundance," with unwavering faith impresses their subconscious with abundance, and soon, their actions, their ideas, and the situations they encounter align with that truth. The outer world becomes the reflection of the inner decree. Faith turns words into seeds that cannot fail to grow. Just as a farmer plants a seed knowing the harvest will come, the one who speaks with faith plants their word and rests in expectancy. They do not dig up the seed with doubt. They do not worry whether it will sprout, they know the harvest is guaranteed. In the same way, words of faith must be planted once, firmly, and then watered with gratitude. Gratitude strengthens the decree, because it assumes fulfillment. Doubt cancels it, but faith maintains it. This is why many people experience delay. They speak, but then allow fear to contradict their words. The ones who see instant manifestation are those whose words remain unshaken by appearances. Words spoken with faith also carry the vibration of authority. When spoken in full conviction, they do not sound like requests, they sound like commands. They declare to the universe, to the subconscious, and to every unseen force that this reality is already done. Authority comes not from arrogance but from alignment with divine law. The speaker knows they are not creating from their own power, but from the infinite power that backs all truth. They are merely the vessel through which divine supply flows, and because the words are aligned with truth, they cannot return void. Every great shift in life begins with a word spoken in faith. A new business begins with the declaration, "This venture is prosperous." A new season of life begins with the statement, "I walk in unlimited wealth." A sudden flow of money begins with the decree, "Large sums of money come to me quickly and easily." These are not idle phrases, they are seeds of creation. When they are spoken once with unwavering conviction, they set in motion a chain of events that lead inevitably to manifestation. When one understands this principle, they no longer waste words. They do not speak idly of lack, debt, or struggle, because they know that words are always planting seeds. Instead, they guard their tongue, and release only those words they desire to see manifested. They speak of abundance, of supply, of prosperity, and of overflowing wealth. They do so not because they see it yet, but because they know the word creates it. And so, their life begins to reflect their speech. They attract money, opportunities, and blessings, not by force but by decree. Prosperity is not something that must be chased, because anything you chase will run from you. The act of chasing implies lack. It signals that what you desire is separate from you, outside of your reach, and that you must struggle or strain to obtain it. But true prosperity does not come through struggle, it comes through recognition. It is not earned in the way the world defines earning, through sweat and toil alone, but rather it is claimed by the one who knows that the infinite is the unfailing source of supply. When you understand that all money, all opportunities, all wealth are expressions of the one source, then you realize you do not need to run after them. You only need to align with that source and declare what is already yours. The river does not run after the ocean, it flows naturally into it. In the same way, prosperity flows naturally to the one who knows their inheritance in the infinite. Chasing prosperity is a symptom of doubt. It arises from the belief that wealth is limited, that resources are scarce, that there is only so much to go around, and that one must hurry to claim their share. But when you know that the infinite is boundless, you understand there is no competition, no shortage, no reason to strive or grasp. Supply is infinite because the source is infinite. Just as the sun never withholds its light, the infinite never withholds its supply. It is always shining, always flowing, always seeking expression. Lack is not a reality, it is only a false perception. The one who chases money believes in lack, but the one who claims prosperity knows abundance is already here. To claim prosperity means to stand in the authority of truth and recognize that all wealth belongs to you by divine right. It is not arrogance to say this, it is alignment. You were created to live in abundance, not in scarcity. The earth is filled with riches, resources, opportunities, and endless channels of supply, and all of these are meant to serve the fulfillment of your divine purpose. When you chase after money, you are denying your authority. But when you claim it, you are stepping into your rightful inheritance. Claiming does not mean grabbing at what belongs to another. It means acknowledging that the source provides freely, in unlimited measure for all. The infinite is the unfailing source, and it can never run dry. Human channels may change, jobs may vanish, businesses may close, banks may collapse, but the source remains eternal. When you look to a single channel as your supply, you limit yourself and live in fear of losing it. But when you recognize that the infinite is the source, you are free, because if one channel closes, another will open. Prosperity is not tied to one stream. It is tied to the boundless ocean. You do not chase the stream, you trust the ocean to send rivers in your direction. Chasing wealth is like chasing shadows, but claiming wealth is like standing in the light. When you chase shadows, they always stay a step ahead. But when you turn to the light, the shadow follows you. In the same way, when you turn your attention to the source and affirm your abundance, prosperity follows you wherever you go. The shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of running after money, you become the magnet that money runs toward. You no longer strive, you attract. You no longer beg, you command. You no longer fear, you rest in assurance. To claim prosperity is to walk in expectancy. It is to live as though abundance is already present, because it is. You do not beg for what is already yours, you receive it with confidence. This expectancy is not passive, it is active faith. It is the kind of faith that takes steps, that moves forward with confidence, that makes decisions from abundance instead of from fear. When you expect prosperity, you carry yourself differently, you speak differently, you act differently, and opportunities naturally gravitate toward you. The world responds to the vibration you carry, and when you carry the vibration of someone who already has all they need, more is added unto you. The infinite never requires you to chase after money. It requires you to align with the flow of supply. Alignment comes through thought, word, and action. When your thoughts are filled with lack, when your words declare struggle, and when your actions are driven by fear, you move out of alignment and prosperity becomes distant. But when your thoughts dwell on abundance, when your words decrease supply, and when your actions reflect confidence in your source, you open the way for prosperity to flow freely. The difference between chasing and claiming is the difference between anxiety and peace, between desperation and assurance, between striving and receiving. Consider how nature operates. The tree does not chase the rain, it stands rooted and the rain comes. The flower does not chase the sun. It simply opens its petals and the sun shines. The bird does not chase the worm, it trusts that supply will be given each day. And so it sings freely. All of nature operates by law, and that law is abundance. Humanity, too, is meant to live by this law. When you step out of fear and chasing, and step into trust and claiming, you move into harmony with the rhythm of life. Prosperity is then not a rare event, but a constant flow. When you truly grasp that the infinite is your source, you no longer depend on outer conditions. You are no longer afraid of economic downturns, job losses, or closed doors, because you know your supply is never in the hands of men, but in the hands of the infinite. This realization frees you from fear and from the endless cycle of pursuit. You stand still and know that prosperity is flowing to you, and because you know it, it must. This knowing is what allows large sums of money to come suddenly and effortlessly, because you are no longer blocking them with fear and striving. Prosperity responds to confidence, not to desperation. Money comes to those who are certain, not to those who chase it frantically. The certainty is not rooted in self, but in source. You are not the creator of supply, you are the receiver. When you align with the infinite and claim what is yours, you become like a vessel that overflows. The more you claim, the more you receive. The more you rest in abundance, the more it multiplies. The law is clear. Prosperity belongs to the one who knows it is theirs by divine right. To speak the sentence once with authority is to stand in the certainty that your word has been heard and fulfilled in the unseen. Authority is not loudness, it is not forcefulness, it is not repetition. Authority is conviction. It is the calm and unwavering tone of one who knows that the decree spoken is already law. When you repeat a command over and over as though trying to convince yourself, or to persuade the universe, you are confessing doubt. You are signaling that you are unsure whether your words carry power. But when you speak once, with complete faith, you are showing that you understand the law of the spoken word, and the creative power behind it. Just as a king does not plead with his subjects or repeat his commands endlessly, but speaks once and knows it will be done, so too must you speak your word of prosperity. The true power of the decree is not in its frequency, but in the faith that energizes it. Authority in speech comes from knowing your divine connection to the source of all supply. When you know that the infinite listens to every word, when you know that you are not separate from the creative force of the universe, your words naturally carry weight. To speak with authority is to speak as one who is backed by infinite power. You are not making things happen by your own effort. You are simply declaring what the infinite already wills for you. Abundance, supply, and wealth in overflowing measure. The moment the decree leaves your lips, the invisible forces of prosperity are set in motion. Channels begin to open, opportunities are arranged, and supply begins its movement toward you. The decree is like a seed planted in the soil of the unseen. You do not dig up a seed every hour to see if it is sprouting. You trust it is growing because you planted it. The decree spoken once in authority is already unfolding beneath the surface. Repeating a decree with begging energy creates resistance. It is like knocking on a door that has already been opened, but refusing to step inside because you cannot believe it. The universe does not respond to begging. It responds to commanding faith. When you plead, you vibrate with lack, with the energy of not having. When you decree once with authority, you vibrate with fullness, with the energy of already having. The difference may appear subtle, but it is the difference between manifestation and delay. The world mirrors your vibration, and when your words carry the vibration of certainty, money and prosperity rush to meet you. To speak once with authority also requires detachment from appearances. The physical world may not yet show the wealth you have called forth, but the decree has already been established in the invisible. You must not look at your bank balance or your debts and then doubt the word you spoke. Authority means you have declared, and because you have declared it must be so, regardless of what is temporarily visible. Appearances are nothing more than the shadows of past thoughts and words. The decree you speak with authority begins to cast a new shadow, one of prosperity, wealth, and abundance. If you cling to the old shadow, you block the new. If you rest in the authority of your word, you allow the new to take form. Authority is not arrogance. Authority is alignment with divine law. When you declare that money flows to you in large and miraculous ways, you are not boasting in yourself. You are affirming the truth of the infinite's endless supply. You are recognizing that money, like air, like light, is part of the divine order of abundance that you are entitled to experience. Speaking once with authority is the ultimate act of trust. It is surrender to the law that your word does not return void. It accomplishes what it is sent to do. To repeat endlessly is to cling to control. But to speak once is to release control and allow the law to work. A gardener does not plant a seed and then run to the ground every day to command it again to grow. The act of planting is the command. The act of watering and waiting is faith. In the same way, your decree is the planting, your gratitude and expectancy are the watering. When you speak once with authority, you have already planted your wealth. The moment after, your task is gratitude, joy, and expectancy. Gratitude assumes the fulfillment, expectancy waits joyfully, and both keep the soil fertile for the decree to sprout into visible riches. The power of speaking once is also found in clarity. A divided mind produces divided results. When you decree prosperity once and then doubt it, you create two seeds, one of abundance and one of lack. The soil of the unseen cannot grow both at once, and so your manifestation is delayed. But when you decree once and refuse to contradict it with fear or doubt, the soil has only one seed to grow. That seed must become a harvest. Authority removes contradiction. It speaks once and then allows no opposing words to cancel it. Every time you repeat with uncertainty, you are pulling up the roots of your decree. Every time you speak in contradiction, you are planting weeds. But when you rest in your first authoritative word, you protect and nurture its growth. Think of a judge who declares a verdict in a courtroom. That verdict is spoken once, and it stands. The entire system of law moves to enforce it. The judge does not need to repeat it 100 times. The system is already activated to carry it out. Your decree of prosperity is the same. The moment it is spoken with faith, the universal law is set in motion to enforce it. It will gather people, events, ideas, and circumstances to fulfill what you have declared. The speed and size of the manifestation depend on your ability to remain in alignment with your authoritative word. Authority is strengthened by confidence in your oneness with the infinite. You are not separate from the source of money and supply. You are an expression of it. When you decree wealth, you are not commanding something foreign to come to you. You are awakening what is already yours. You are aligning your external life with the abundance that already exists in your spiritual inheritance. When you speak once with authority, you are saying yes to what has always belonged to you. The universe does not resist this, it delights in fulfilling it. Supply wants to flow. Prosperity wants to express itself, money wants to circulate. It is only waiting for your authoritative permission. The discipline of speaking once with authority also cultivates inner stillness. When you know that one decree is enough, you stop restless striving. You stop wasting energy in fear-based repetition. You learn to trust the unseen process. Stillness becomes your strength, because you no longer feel the need to prove or push. You walk with assurance, you act with confidence, you carry yourself as one who already possesses what they declared. This vibration alone magnetizes prosperity to you, because wealth responds to the frequency of certainty. Money arrives through unexpected channels when you align with divine law, because divine supply is not limited to the channels you can see with your natural eyes. The mind often tries to calculate how money should come, through what job, through what person, through what business. But divine law is far beyond human calculation. The infinite has endless ways to deliver abundance, and when you trust in that law, you open yourself to possibilities you could never plan for. If you lock yourself into one expected channel, you close the door to the flow that could come through 1,000 others. Alignment with divine law is the act of releasing your limited plans and trusting that the infinite knows the perfect, effortless, and miraculous path for your prosperity to reach you. Divine law works with precision, order, and timing. What looks impossible to you is simple for the infinite. and what looks far away is already close. Money may not come from the place you expect, but it will come from the place that is best. Sometimes it comes through a new idea that flashes into your mind, an inspiration that leads to wealth. Sometimes it comes through a forgotten debt being repaid, an inheritance you did not know was waiting, a gift from someone you never imagined, or a sudden business opportunity that unfolds without strain. The infinite orchestrates all things with ease, but your part is to remain aligned, to stay in faith, to hold to the decree that abundance is yours. Alignment with divine law means understanding the principle that supply always meets demand. When you boldly declare your abundance, when you act and think from abundance, you create a demand that the universe must meet. It cannot fail, for the law is unfailing. The problem for many is that they demand from fear, they demand from desperation, and so they block the channel. But when you align with divine law, your demand is not desperate, it is expectant. You know that your word has power, and you know the law is already at work. From that state of alignment, money begins to find you in ways that surpass human logic. The beauty of divine law is that it is not bound by the conditions of the economy, the opinions of people, or the structures of the world. You may think money can only come through your salary or your business, but divine law has no such restrictions. Money can appear through sudden promotions, new clients, or business expansions, but it can also come through discounts, gifts, waived debts, or surprise opportunities that lower your expenses and increase your surplus. You might suddenly find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting someone who opens a door for you, or discovering a resource that multiplies your wealth. When you stop limiting the channels and trust in divine law, the channels open wider than you imagined. There are countless stories of people who aligned with divine law and saw money arrive through astonishing channels. Someone speaks their decree of abundance, and the very next day, a forgotten check arrives in the mail. Another declares prosperity, and suddenly a long-lost friend reaches out with an opportunity that changes their financial life. Another person releases worry, aligns with faith, and is guided to an idea that brings steady and increasing wealth. These are not accidents, they are demonstrations of the law at work. The law is always at work, but it responds most powerfully to those who trust it and refuse to limit it. When you align with divine law, you step out of fear and into certainty. Fear says, "I don't know how money will come." Faith says, "Money comes to me in perfect ways." Fear tries to force one channel to open, while faith allows any channel to open. Fear is small, faith is expansive. Fear blocks, faith attracts. Alignment with divine law is the choice to stay in faith, to hold to your decree without wavering, and to expect that supply is flowing toward you even if you cannot see its path. And soon, what was invisible becomes visible. Money often comes through the path of least resistance. If one channel is blocked by your doubt, the law will open another. If you try to force one path, you may close others. But if you release control and stay aligned, money finds its way to you in the easiest and quickest manner. The law is never slow, but it works according to your level of openness. If you expect money only from your job, you cut off the greater flow. But if you open to money from all directions, you invite miracles. Alignment means declaring, "I am open to receive from any channel the infinite chooses," and then allowing it to happen. The unexpected channels are often the sweetest demonstrations, because they remind you that supply does not depend on your effort alone. When money appears from a place you never considered, it proves to you that the infinite is truly the source. It strengthens your faith and loosens your grip on fear. Each unexpected supply is a sign that you are cared for, guided, and provided for in ways far beyond your own understanding. The more you experience this, the more you trust, and the more freely money flows. Another key to alignment is gratitude. Gratitude creates a vibration that draws money into your life. When you give thanks for the supply before it appears, you align with divine law at a high level. Gratitude is the language of faith, and faith is the activator of abundance. When you say, "Thank you for the large sums of money now flowing to me," you are not waiting to see proof before you give thanks. You are giving thanks as proof that you know the law is at work. This act of gratitude opens channels wide, and the unexpected becomes natural. Money comes through unexpected channels when you also release attachment to specific people. Many look to a certain person for help, for payment, for opportunity, but this attachment creates resistance. People are only instruments, not the source. The infinite is the source, and people are channels. When you release your attachment to one person or one channel, you give the law freedom to work through many. The money you expect from one person may not come, but it may come multiplied from another place. When you detach and trust, the law is free to work in perfect ways. To align with divine law is also to act in obedience to intuition. Often, guidance will come as a nudge, a small inner voice telling you to take a step, make a call, or move in a certain direction. That guidance is the law directing you to the channel prepared for you. When you ignore it, you delay supply. When you follow it, you step into the flow. Alignment is not only declaring abundance, it is listening for the guidance that leads you to the channel. The infinite may guide you to a new idea, a new partnership, a new opportunity, and that guidance is the bridge through which money flows. The law works in harmony with timing. What you call delay is often perfect alignment. The law is preparing the way, arranging circumstances, moving people, and aligning events so that the money arrives at the right moment in the right way. If you lose patience and begin to chase or doubt, you step out of alignment. But if you hold steady, the timing will prove perfect. Money arrives not late, not early, but precisely when it serves your highest good. When you align with this truth, you release worry and rest in peace. Gratitude and expectancy are magnets that accelerate large sums of money, because they place you in harmony with the law of supply. Gratitude is the vibration of already having, and expectancy is the vibration of readiness to receive. When you give thanks in advance, you are declaring that your prosperity is already here in the unseen, and by that very act you draw it into the seen. Expectancy is the open door, the posture of a heart that knows the supply is on its way. Together, gratitude and expectancy form a magnetic field so strong that money cannot help but move toward you. They are not emotions to be practiced only when evidence appears. They are spiritual states that bring evidence into being. Gratitude transforms your words and thoughts into powerful decrees that the universe rushes to fulfill. To say, thank you, before money appears is an act of bold faith. It shows that you trust the unseen as much as the seen. It is easy to give thanks when the check is in your hand. But true creative power is giving thanks before it arrives. This kind of gratitude is not pretending, it is knowing. You know the law cannot fail, and so you give thanks for its fulfillment even while the physical world still looks empty. Gratitude in advance is the most powerful form of thanksgiving, for it assumes completion. The universe responds to this assumption by bringing the visible evidence quickly. Expectancy is equally powerful because it refuses to settle for lack. Expectancy is not hope, which often wavers, but a firm anticipation that what has been decreed must appear. When you expect money, you carry yourself differently. You walk with assurance, you speak with confidence, and you act as though provision is already unfolding. You no longer question if money will come, you simply wonder how and through which channel it will appear. This expectancy creates a magnetic pull, drawing the supply through whatever avenue is open. The law of supply matches your vibration, and when your vibration is one of expectancy, the law hastens to meet it. Gratitude and expectancy also clear the inner atmosphere of doubt and fear. Doubt creates resistance. Fear creates blockage, but gratitude dissolves both. You cannot be afraid and grateful at the same time. You cannot doubt and truly expect at the same time. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already provided, and expectancy keeps your eyes on the abundance that is approaching. Together, they keep you aligned with the law, free from the distractions of worry, and open to receive the flow of money that is moving toward you. When you live in gratitude, even before visible wealth, you shift into abundance consciousness. You begin to see abundance all around you, in nature, in opportunities, in simple blessings, and this perception itself multiplies your prosperity. The more you recognize and give thanks for what you already have, the more you attract. Gratitude multiplies because it tells the universe, I am ready for more, and I appreciate what is here. A grateful heart is like fertile soil, rich and ready for the seeds of prosperity to sprout. Without gratitude, even large sums of money can slip away, because the soil is barren. With gratitude, money not only arrives quickly but also remains and multiplies. Expectancy strengthens gratitude, because it keeps you from stagnation. You are not only thankful for what is here, you are also joyfully anticipating more. You live in a state of expansion, always open, always ready. This is not greed, it is alignment with the ever-expanding nature of the infinite. Just as the universe itself is always expanding, so is your capacity to receive. Expectancy says, "This is wonderful, and more is on the way." Gratitude says, "Thank you for what I have now." Together they form a current of flow, always receiving, always increasing. Large sums of money are drawn swiftly to those who master this combination. Imagine two people, one filled with worry, complaining about lack, doubting if money will ever come. The other filled with gratitude for the unseen supply and expectancy of sudden riches. The first repels money because their vibration signals fear and scarcity. The second attracts money because their vibration signals abundance and readiness. Money gravitates toward the environment where it is welcomed, appreciated, and expected. Gratitude welcomes it, expectancy prepares a place for it, and so it comes. Gratitude and expectancy also alter your actions. A grateful person takes care of what they have, no matter how small, and so they prepare themselves for more. An expectant person moves with confidence, takes bold steps, and invests in opportunities because they know provision is already on the way. These attitudes create practical conditions for prosperity to manifest. The grateful heart multiplies resources, the expectant spirit seizes opportunities. And together they create a magnet so strong that even unexpected channels of money are compelled to open. Another mystery of gratitude is that it magnifies whatever you focus on. When you are grateful for small amounts of money, you open the door to larger amounts. If you receive a small gift and dismiss it as insignificant, you shut the door to more. But if you give thanks for even the smallest provision, you invite multiplication. The law is clear to those who appreciate, more is given. The same applies to expectancy. If you expect only little, you receive little. If you expect large sums, you create the vibration that calls them in. Gratitude magnifies, expectancy enlarges, and together they ensure that money flows in ever-increasing measure. It is also important to understand that gratitude and expectancy are not passive. They are active forces. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a declaration. It is saying, "Thank you," aloud, writing it, affirming it, and dwelling on it until it fills your atmosphere. Expectancy is not just waiting, it is preparing. It is acting as though supply is already on its way. If you expect guests, you prepare your home. If you expect large sums of money, you prepare your life to handle them. This preparation itself becomes a signal that you are ready, and the law rushes to deliver. Many people delay their prosperity by waiting to feel grateful until they see results, and by waiting to expect until they see evidence. But this is reversal of the law. Evidence follows faith, not the other way around. Gratitude and expectancy are the proof of your faith, and faith always produces results. When you say, "I am so grateful for the large sums of money now flowing to me," while still seeing lack, you are proving your faith. When you say, "I fully expect miraculous supply to appear any moment," while your hands are empty, you are proving your faith. The law cannot ignore such proof, and it accelerates manifestation to meet it. Gratitude also lifts your vibration to joy. And joy is one of the highest states of receptivity. Joy attracts money because it signals harmony, flow, and openness. A heart weighed down with worry cannot receive easily, but a heart filled with joy becomes a wide channel for abundance. Expectancy sustains that joy, because you are always anticipating good news, always looking for signs of provision, always ready to celebrate. This creates a cycle of joy and manifestation, each feeding the other, until large sums of money appear naturally and consistently. Gratitude and expectancy are also shields against negativity. The world may present stories of economic collapse, financial struggle, or endless debt, but a grateful and expectant heart is not shaken. You know your supply does not depend on the world's conditions but on divine law. Gratitude anchors you in abundance. Expectancy keeps you looking forward, and together they make you immune to the fear that grips others. While many fall into panic, you rise in prosperity, because your vibration is different. You attract not according to the world's fear, but according to your gratitude and expectancy.